What's going on, guys? Hey, listen. Again, from the house of Jovoy, we're inside the top three now. As you guys know, the Discovery set from Jovoy comes with 16 2mls, which is incredible. It's been a totally awesome ride. Just so much versatility in the bag here. I know this isn't every fragrance from Jovoy, but the fact that you can get 16 of them really lets you survey the house with all their notable bangers and really understand the house, appreciate perfumery, because this is high-end niche perfumery, guys, at its finest. I think this is the best Discovery set I've come across, and we are now inside the top three, and this is one of them. So strap up, and let's go for that ride.
Okay, for two. I watch that head move side to side as I let this in into the room. You are on top, let's connect minds. Trying to get into a mood. We gon' be fine. Close up the blinds, no rush. Finish the food.
All right, welcome to the Scent Bubble. I am your host for the evening. Today from the house of Jovoy, we have, let me fix this up for you. I used to say Pavillon Rouge, but I think it's Pavillon Rouge. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah. This is a unisex fragrance. And we're going to go ahead and spray this and let it dry down on the test strip. Load it up there so we can get a good experience. For the heck of it, let's put it on skin. Why not? We're in the top three, right? For those of you guys who don't know, in the 16 fragrances, I kind of just vaguely did a power ranking. And I ordered my reviews from worst to best. So if you didn't know that leading up to this video, you can go back and see which Jovoy fragrances I started with and which ones I ended with through the season. And you'll know that the ones closer to the front are the best of the best, and the ones in the back are the ones I didn't care for as much, but they all are still amazing fragrances in their own right. Now, Pavillon Rouge. I'm going to read you guys something. So it's got 640 votes, so not a ton of people have put their nose to it, but it got a 4.05 rating out of 5. So that means for the people who are into this type of stuff, it is solid and people love it. It's not above that, though, so it's not really a mass appealing type of fragrance. And due to the smell, I can totally understand why. Okay, let's read this really quickly, and I apologize. Jovoy is very poetic, and sometimes that doesn't help. A perfume, I'm going to skip some of this. A perfume of conquest and adventure, Pavillon Rouge is an ode to life. It invites conquering both night and day without any fear, with the confidence of those who have braved death for some long-lost fortune or legendary glory. There's a lot more before that. I just didn't feel like reading it. This is a woody, super woody. It almost feels like resinous wood, so like woody notes and myrrh, or woody notes and frankincense, or woody notes and elemi. It's a wood soaked in a incensey, ambery type of resin. I don't know whether it feels old or new. It feels like masterful perfumery, so that always makes me feel like something is timeless, right? Because it feels like royalty in a way. But it does have an agedness to it, like it came from the past and it was modernized or something, because it's so woody, so dry. There's like a slight dampness of air, not dampness as in wet, due to like this super fresh combination of what feels like amber and resins. And I hope there's some sort of citrus or slight sweetness coming from something, but I'm really at a loss for words here. Let's scroll down. This feels like even like a tobacco, like a really, like smoking a pipe tobacco in a cave with an incense lit. Okay, top notes: whiskey and rum, spices and sesame. I do get a little twang of sesame. It's not unpleasant though. I dig it. Tobacco, leather, coffee, and tea. Ebony. What's that? Woods and mosses. Okay. Evocative of black decorative wood. It is a note appearing in niche compositions and woody fragrances where a darker element is desired. I totally get that in the freshest way possible. Okay. Yeah, so, and then vanilla and benzoin. Guys, don't get hype off vanilla. There's less than 5% of vanilla in this. You almost can't even make it out. I feel like the tea is just kind of neutralizing everything. I know people voted and said the tea is the least prominent note with the sesame, but I think that's just because you can't make out a tea or sesame note per se, but it coats and tones the vibe. Because you might be led to think like you're going to smell this fragrance and smell distinct notes of whiskey and rum and spice and tobacco and leather and coffee and ebony and vanilla. But truthfully, you just get this kind of woody experience where it's almost like you took whiskey, rum, spices, tobacco, and like the tiniest dropper of vanilla, and you like swirled it up in a cup and you poured that on top of some either coffee beans or leather. And then the next morning when it dried up, this is what you would get. It's just what's left from it, which is like all these rich competition-y notes battling each other, but because it was soaked in a tea, like they all kind of just glued together and the best of their attributes kind of soaked and Voltroned into this one uniform idea, which is dark, fresh, spicy, resinous, smoothest muffled tobaccoed coffee beans. This is a very masculine scent. Let's get out of this and go big picture here. So, on skin, it does the same thing, but that vanilla does kind of creep out a little bit more. I'm kind of... Okay, so it's very masculine, super masculine. Did they dare call this unisex? They did. Women, stay away from this, please. I'm so sick of the push to call everything unisex. I mean, I totally agree with wear what you want to wear, but at the same time, like, we use these things to navigate the world in context. And I'm not going to get too political, but when we think of masculine and feminine, like, we don't inherently, it's just a navigating resource that we hold to with a loose grip. And we know that it has flexibility within each of them, but it's very helpful to be one of the pieces that helps describe a fragrance. This is not unisex, ladies, I promise. It warms up. A little bit more vanilla creeps through the bottom. Like if it was 5%, it goes up to about an 8. You know, it's still very light. Yeah, and it just feels like, again, you took whiskey, rum, spices, some pipe tobacco, and coffee, swirled it around in a black tea, strained out everything the next morning, and poured that juice on top of a nice matured leather. Let that soak for a couple hours until it dried out. And then you just get this fresh, spiced feel of all that kind of glued into this one super woody, leathery scent. I mean, I'm with it. Like, to me, if I pulled up wearing this next to somebody wearing ombre leather, it makes ombre leather or Tuscan leather feel... Okay, so let me say this, just to let you know, like, what kind of family of leather and woods you're into. So I feel personally that Tuscan leather is more mature than ombre leather, especially on the dry down. I feel like the floral slight fruit nuance to that leather still mature comparatively to other leather scents in the designer realm, but it is still treading unisex more. Like, I do think women who are into leather and suede would still be able to, in a weird way, pull off ombre leather, even though most men get it, because of the balance. Whereas Tuscan leather, I don't think women can wear, and that's just like total tuxed out gray tux man in the Jag. You know, it's like how I feel with gray vetiver, but this is a leather fragrance. Tuscan leather feels like you better have the executive suite whenever you stay somewhere at a hotel, because you're only going to be there for like an hour to use the Wi-Fi and borrow a room, and then you're going to be back in your expensive car or in your private jet. That's how Tuscan leather feels. So it's more mature. So this type of leather, I feel if I was wearing this and pulled up next to a guy my age wearing ombre leather, the more girly girls who are kind of younger minded would gravitate towards the ombre leather because it's a little more commercial in its feel, whereas this one's a little more rugged and raw. This is like, I am who I am. It's still tastefully fresh, but the caliber of man, like part of me wants to say it feels like 30 and up. The other part of me says ignore the age. It's just the type of man who would wear this. You know, it would be a man who occasionally has a whiskey and rum. It would be a man who owns some form of a leather briefcase or a leather satchel. It would be a man who drives a BMW or a Lexus at minimum, or any exotic car of your choice. Like he just, like this, if a 40 or 50-year-old man wore this, you would want that to be your dad, you know, because this is like almost has a Knight Rider Hasselhoff kind of feel to it. Like it has an agedness to it, but it's super fresh and timeless still. And then even the leather opens up as I'm talking to feel a little bit fresher. Like on the dry down, it like soaked into this kind of leather boozy experience. Like this dried leather, resinous, slight undertone of dark liquor. But it's even starting to bloom a little bit at this point and kind of open up to some sort of spiced freshness. I dig it, man. Like for me, a leather scent. Does Ombre Noir from La Ligue have leather in it? Let me look. I hope it does. It doesn't, but it feels leatherish. Okay, so in leather sense, I feel like if you owned Eau de Ombre leather, listen to my voice, Eau de Ombre leather, the new one, not, I mean, even ombre leather is cool, but I've said this many times before. I think Eau de Ombre leather smashes ombre leather, but either one is fine. I feel like if you have ombre leather and a fragrance like this, you have your leathers covered. Like you've got that more mass appealing leather that is still mature and is still luxurious, but more people will understand it and gravitate towards it, and the compliment factor will be high. Whereas like this kind of puts you like I imagine if you were 25 or 30 rocking this, like you would be getting compliments and would be getting hit on. But as a 25 to 30-year-old guy, you'd be getting hit on by the 40-year-old women, like a really nice looking 40-year-old woman. You know what I'm saying? Like you would be punching above your weight class, and she would be like, okay, this boy has a old soul. He's grown up type of feel. But it doesn't, I hate to use the word old man, because I think that implies that it's just not good. I think the picture we're trying to paint when we say old or old manish, isn't always the best description for it, because when I say old man, I feel like dang near retirement age, old manish. You know, if I just feel like something's mature, I'll typically just say mature or an actual age range. I think this is like a stunning, an ambitious, already established 30-year-old man in the 30s, a super hip and successful 40s kind of guy with good swag and good energy. He doesn't feel old. He feels he's 40, but he acts 30. Like he's just made it and he lives life the way he wants. If you're 50, it makes you feel 40. And if you're 20s, 25 to 30-ish, it's like you just shop at expensive places and you like your leathers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do know some younger guys who really appreciate what Ombre Noir did from Lalique. And it does have a similar composition as a fragrance like this, but it's much less woody, and there is no leather, but there is the tobacco, there is the myrrh, there is the greenery. But again, I digress. Cold weather, winter, fall, 30 and up, or ambitious 25 and up. It's a beautiful other side of the coin to ombre leather that feels more fresh floral fruit on the dry down. This feels more mature. So you kind of have like the Batman and Robin. You have the light, airy, fresh, elegant, luxurious. You're still a CEO, but maybe you're just like an ambitious entrepreneur who's not all the way there yet. This is the I've been a boss and I'm still a boss. The age gap feels like 5 or 10 years plus on a fragrance like Eau de Ombre Leather. But it's a necessary one to have, because if you want to ramp up that maturity, you know, lounge, semi-formal, formal, any kind of like super mature date night, restaurant, traveling, you might wear it in an airport if you're in cold weather, just to have this elegance to you and this manliness. I love how fresh it's handled. It doesn't feel aged too much. And I love the gluing of all the notes. Normally in a fragrance like this, like for instance with Ombre Leather or Ombre Noir from Lalique, you can make out the notes individually. Whereas this almost feels like how Sutton Place was handled from Bond Number 9, where everything's just kind of married together and just feels like more of a uniform idea. Great fragrance. I think for leather lovers, this is 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. I'm on the fence with it. I think for my taste, it's a beautiful, solid 9. I think for leather lovers, it's masterclass territory, you know? So we're just gonna, let's see. Perfect. You know what I'm saying? Spray test approved. Yeah, I mean, it was a treat to try this. I remember when I first smelled Sutton Place, I really thought they were onto something with the maturity. It was just a different dimension to Ombre Leather. But this is an elevation from Sutton Place. This kills Sutton Place. So beautiful. This, I'm always intimidated by resins and dark liquors and leathers and what people are going to do to them, and tobacco especially, because you're playing with multiple dimensions like wetness, dampness. You're playing with resins, incense. You're playing with harshness and softness with tobacco. There's just a lot of moving parts. Balance is everything. And if you want to showcase individual notes versus make a glued presentation, you know what? I'm just going to call it a 10.
Perfect.
Because even though it's not quite all the way my jam, if more fragrances in the leather, tobacco category and dark liquor category smelled like this, I think I would want more of this in my bag. So yeah, 9 or 10, but I'm going to give it a 10. It's really growing on me. The transition on this is absolutely beautiful. And in this vein, it's just stunning. Sprays on this, 4 to 6. 6 if you're going to be moving outdoors and stuff, but I think 4 would get you totally right. You know, hit yourself 2, maybe like 1 front, 1 back, and then hit each of your arms or something like that. So you can just do wizardry with this, you know, waft around. Young kids, young men, you might buy this and be intimidated by it, like it doesn't apply to you, but like let it sit on skin, give it some shots. Maybe you buy it, you put it on the shelf, and then as you start to smell other fragrances like this and you gravitate towards the Ombre Noirs and the, you know, and the other tobacco and leathery type of fragrances, you'll come back to this and realize how much of a masterpiece it is. It is mature though. It's not unisex, ladies, trust me. I mean, this fragrance, oh wow, I was looking at this. It's crazy. Ombre Noir got a 4.36 out of 5. I knew that fragrance was special. But yeah, this is awesome. This is Pavillon Rouge. Just know you're getting into a leather, tobacco, liquor scent before you get into it. It's classified as a woody, warm, Yeah, it's classified as a woody, warm, spicy whiskey tobacco leather fragrance with a real undercoat of some animalics, some vanilla, rum, and amber. And I just think it's star-studded. 9 at the bare minimum. You got to get your nose on it, especially if you've been like me and you haven't found a lot of leathers you really gravitate towards. I might grow into something like this, but certainly on semi-formal and formal occasions, I would have to bust this out the same way I bust out Ombre Noir and just grow up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, this is from the House of Jovoy, Paris, Pavillon Rouge. Banger, in my opinion. I could see why it's up there in the top 3 for me. So with that being said, like, comment, subscribe. More importantly, turn on that notification bell. I drop episodes every single day. Entertainment, informative, all collaborations, lives, Q&A, the whole 9. We get it in here, and I appreciate your time. And until next time, be blessed, guys. Peace.